Ellison family's Hollywood merger, how Larry and David built Paramount. Imagine a Hollywood empire where one family wields the power to shape the stories that entertain and inform millions worldwide. Now, picture this. That power rests in the hands of a father-son duo, both billionaires, who have orchestrated a deal that could redefine the entertainment industry as we know it. But here's where it gets controversial. David Ellison, the son of software tycoon Larry Ellison, has been nurturing a relationship with Paramount Pictures for over a decade. As a successful movie producer, David has been building bridges with one of Hollywood's most iconic studios. However, it wasn't just his charm and connections that played a crucial role in the recent $8 billion merger between Paramount and Skydance Media. His father's immense fortune and political influence were also key factors. On Thursday, after a year and a half of waiting, the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, gave the green light to this monumental deal. The merger is set to be finalized on August 7th, and when it does, Larry and David Ellison will emerge as two of the most powerful figures in Hollywood, with Larry Ellison, at 80 years old, as the chairman and CEO, and his son David, at 42, holding 50% of the voting rights. They will oversee an entertainment empire that includes more than 1,200 film titles, ranging from blockbusters like Top Gun: Maverick to classics like It's a Wonderful Life, as well as the distribution rights to another 2,400 films. But that's not all. The merger also brings under their control popular channels such as MTV, Nickelodeon, Showtime, and CBS News. While it's David who will be steering the ship as the CEO, it's his father who controls the purse strings and owns the equity, as regulatory filings clearly state. Larry Ellison may have played a more significant role behind the scenes to ensure the deal's success. To get this deal approved, both parties had to make some key concessions. Paramount agreed to pay President Trump $16 million to settle a lawsuit over the editing of a 2024 interview with Kamala Harris for the 60 Minutes program. Interestingly, a couple of weeks later, CBS announced it would end Stephen Colbert's late-night show due to cost overruns. On the other hand, Skydance had to promise that its programming would represent a diversity of viewpoints and adopt measures to root out bias in national news media. According to the FCC's announcement, the deal also saw some last-minute changes regarding control. Initially, FCC filings showed Larry Ellison holding all the voting and equity shares in the holding companies acquiring Paramount's stake. However, by October 2024, an amendment was filed, reducing David's voting rights in the post-merger Paramount to 50%, with Larry retaining 27.5%. This means David needs his father's approval for major decisions like budgets and investments. But why the change? According to a Los Angeles-based mergers and acquisitions lawyer, it's likely due to regulatory reasons and not just about power. From a voting standpoint, David Ellison will be in control through his entities, but the taxable benefits will flow to Larry, he explains. The relationship between the Ellisons and Paramount runs deep. In 2008, Larry incorporated Sayonara LLC for media production investments, months after he started pledging his Oracle shares as collateral for credit lines. Skydance, which David co-founded, has been closely tied to Paramount since its inception. The merger, therefore, is not just a business deal, but a culmination of years of strategic partnerships. As we move forward, it's fascinating to ponder how Larry and David will coexist in their new roles. Will Larry's influence overshadow David's vision? And what about the future of CBS News under their control? The Ellisons' acquisition of Paramount and Skydance is a bold move that could shape the entertainment landscape for years to come. But what do you think? Is this a smart move, or does it raise concerns about media consolidation? Let us know in the comments below. CBS News faces major changes after Skydance merger. What you need to know. Media giant's new watchdog sparks alarm bells in CBS newsroom. The media landscape underwent a seismic shift Thursday as Paramount's $8 billion merger with Skydance received final approval. But beneath the corporate celebrations, a storm is brewing inside the hallways of CBS News, a Paramount subsidiary, where journalists are increasingly anxious about two controversial changes: the installation of an ombudsman and the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) policies. When your new corporate parent's first gift is essentially a hall monitor, it hardly signals confidence in how the newsroom operates, confided one CBS staff member to Fox News Digital. The insider requested anonymity to protect their career prospects in the rapidly changing organization. But here's where the situation gets particularly concerning for many CBS veterans. Skydance made explicit commitments prior to the merger to completely dismantle Paramount's existing DEI initiatives, while simultaneously creating an ombudsman position specifically to monitor for perceived bias within CBS News. This watchdog role will function similarly to an independent inspector general, investigating both public and internal complaints about the network's journalistic output. What makes this position especially powerful is that the ombudsman will bypass normal chain of command, reporting directly to Skydance CEO David Ellison, who becomes president of the newly formed media conglomerate. I write to confirm the elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives that were in place at Paramount, and to confirm our commitments moving forward," stated Skydance General Counsel Stephanie Kyoko McKinnon in correspondence with FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. This formal declaration leaves little room for interpretation about the new management's priorities. Paradoxically, this corporate reshuffling comes at a time when many media organizations are expanding diversity initiatives rather than curtailing them. Paramount had already signaled a retreat from DEI principles in February, announcing the abandonment of diversity hiring goals and removing DEI metrics from executive compensation packages. This earlier move triggered significant internal pushback among employees. Skydance's latest communication reinforces this new direction, explicitly stating that DEI-based hiring practices and any benchmarks based on race or gender will be discontinued, replaced by what they describe as merit-based recruitment, drawing from a broad talent pool. Another CBS source, also speaking on condition of anonymity, offered a more nuanced perspective, pointing out that ombudsman positions aren't unprecedented in journalism. Ombudsmen have served valuable roles in news organizations before, handling both internal and external concerns, the source explained. However, they cautioned that the ultimate impact of this new position will largely depend on who fills the role and precisely how much editorial influence they'll wield within the newsroom. This part most viewers might miss. The devil truly lies in the implementation details. The shift away from DEI represents a dramatic reversal for CBS, which had previously embraced diversity goals across its programming spectrum. Stephen Colbert, host of The Late Show, openly acknowledged in a 2018 New York Times interview that he had deliberately sought women writers to diversify his team. "It wasn't until we said, 'Please don't send us anyone but women,' that I got 87 women. It's not enough to say you want it. You has to go to the not ordinary step," Colbert explained at the time. Interestingly, CBS recently announced that The Late Show will conclude its run, with the final episode scheduled to air in May 2026, a decision that has raised eyebrows given the timing coinciding with the merger. The network's diversity initiatives extended beyond late-night programming. Following George Floyd's death in 2020, CBS implemented a policy requiring half of all participants in its reality shows to be BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Additionally, CBS President George Cheeks mandated that 40% of writers on primetime programs come from BIPOC backgrounds during the 2021-2022 season. The network's mentorship program that year highlighted this commitment, selecting 7 writers from over 1,000 applicants. Notably, none were white men. Our writers' mentoring program helps provide opportunities and build relationships with network executives and showrunners. Tiffany Smith NOI, who served as Executive Vice President of Entertainment Diversity and Inclusion at Viacom CBS, told industry publication Deadline at the time. Critics have long accused CBS News of harboring liberal and anti-Trump tendencies in its coverage. During the 2024 vice presidential debate, moderator Margaret Brennan cut off Vice President J.D. Vance's microphone during a contentious discussion about immigration policies. In another notable incident before the 2020 election, 60 Minutes anchor Leslie Stahl dismissed then-President Trump's attempts to discuss controversies surrounding Hunter Biden's laptop. "This is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify," Stahl insisted during their interview. Ironically, CBS News would later authenticate the same laptop in 2022, raising questions about their initial editorial judgment. The relationship between Trump and the network remains strained. The former president file.